and just speak well about God. Come on, take this moment now. Doesn't matter what you are. I'm standing here, not knowing how we'll get through this test. But holding on to forgiveness. And God can catch you by surprise. And now we know that you made a way. When our backs were against the wall, and it looked as if it was over, you made a way. Now we're standing here only because you made a way. Lift up your hands right now. Let's sing with this right now. Sing the mountains. Sing the clouds rise to life. Sing the promise. That's it. That's the way. And we're standing only because you made the move. You crossed mountains, perform miracles. Say there is nothing that's impossible. Only because you move mountains. You cross Just think about it for a moment. So you made a way. Don't know how, but you did it. You made a way. Everybody look it up, say. I think the thing about it right when you want to say, you made. Don't know how, but you did it. You made a way. Don't know how.
Pastor Sam, and I say welcome to Redemption's virtual worship experience. Before we go any further in the service, I have to pause and say thank you, Redemption family, friends, and partners. Thank you for being faithful in your giving. Thank you for your generosity. It's because of your faithfulness. It's because of your sacrifice that we've been able as a church to provide resources and food for essential workers on a weekly basis. It's because of your love for God, number one, and this ministry that we have been able to sow seeds for single parents who were desperately in need. It's because of your giving that we've been able to provide this awesome, spirit-filled, amazing virtual worship experience week after week. And we just want to pause and say thank you. Listen, we're not done yet. We still need your help. We still need you to partner with us during this holiday season, during this pitiful pandemic and crazy coronavirus. Redemption has chosen to adopt the House of Grace. During this holiday season, the House of Grace is a women's shelter who provides resources and aid for women who are battling, survivors of domestic violence. And we want to be a blessing to them. We believe in church and outside the walls. One of the core values of Redemption Church is outreach, and we want to make sure as a ministry, as a body of believers, that we are definitely reaching out. So this is your time to partner with us. You can give by text to give at 901-509-9420 or via the website of www.redemptionlifenow.org or by Cash App, $Redemption Now, that's 2 N's. And I pray blessings and favor over your seed. And I know for a fact that God gives seed to the sower. It's giving time.
Listen, welcome to Redemption Church. We are so glad to be in this space with you. Listen, I don't know where you're watching from. You can be watching from your front room, your living room, your bedroom, whatever room you're in. Can you stop for just a moment in that room and just lift up your hands and just give God praise for being consistent? Give God praise for being a constant help. My mama said he's a very present help. In the time of down and shout, I didn't shut it out. I said he's a very present help. That means whatever you're going through, he's right there with you. In this space with me, we're still on the run. We're still on the run, and listen, let's get into it. I'm ready to hear what thus says the Lord concerning our life. Listen, let's do it.
At the beginning of a take, the director on set gives the cue, in which he says, lights, camera, action.
Yes, sir.
At the beginning of a take, the director says a cue in which she says, lights, camera, and the operative word is action. Somebody say action.
Action.
The word action is the process. It's best understood as the process of doing something.
Yeah.
The word action suggests motion and movement. It's when faith meets force.
Yeah.
When the director says action, watch this, the actors on set begin to perform. They begin to perform things that they have been prepared to produce.
Yeah.
I said when the director says action, the actors on set begin to perform the thing in which they have prepared to produce. All the things that they have rehearsed begins to manifest itself into reality. Things come into action when the director says action. It's at the command of action, watch this, that things begin to work. At the command of action, things begin to line up. At the command of action, things begin to fall properly into place. Help me shout action.
Action.
The word action, the root of the word action is found in the word act. The word act in the theater terminology, dog, watch this. In theater terminology suggests a section of a play in which the scene shifts.
Yeah.
If you notice for the moment, we have not been in the sanctuary, we have been on the run week after week after week. We've been on the move, we've been in motion. In other words, the scene has shifted.
Yes, sir.
That's critical. Why? Because when the scene shifts, watch this, that means that you are in another level of production.
Yeah.
And so when the scene shifts, that means you are in in another level of production. You can't get to Act 2 unless you successfully completed Act 1. Then I pause parenthetically to prophetically proclaim that God has been behind the scenes, moving things in motion, putting things in motion. Although you didn't see God, he was in the background, moving things around. He has been shifting some stuff. In other words, God is getting ready to watch this. He's getting ready to act on your behalf. Speaking of Acts, the text says in Acts chapter 2 verse 46 says, so continuing David on one accord in the temple and breaking bread from house to house, they ate their food with gladness and simplicity of heart, praising God and having favor with people. Here's the thing. And the Lord added to the church David those who were being saved. Let me read that text one more again. So continuing David with one accord in the temple, breaking bread from house to house, they ate food with gladness and simplicity of heart, praising God and having favor with the people. And the Lord added to the church David those who were being saved. In other words, according to Acts chapter 2, because they were on one accord, the Lord acted on their behalf by adding to them once they took action. You missed what I said. According to Acts 2, because they were on one accord, the Lord acted on their behalf by adding to them once they took action. Do me a favor, look at somebody real close and tell them it's go time. Look at somebody else and say it's go time. Can I suggest to you that after all of that persecution, after all of the pain, after all of the problems, even after the preparation, that God was only setting you up to produce on another level. I said after all of that persecution, after all of your pain, after all of your problems, even after your preparation, God has only set you up in this place so that you might produce on another level. What if I told you that you were closer than you think? That you were in a better position than you realize? What if I told you that God had you right where He intended you to be, so He used this global pandemic in order to position you on another level to produce? What if I told you that your situation was not a setback? God was just shifting the things in your life. He's putting you in your moving you into place. In other words, light, camera, action. Look at somebody and say, it's no time. It's no time. Do me a favor, take about 10 seconds and just go in on the Lord. The text says, so continuing David with one accord. So continuing David with one accord. So here it is in verse 46 that Luke provides us with a critical detail that I believe makes the difference between obtaining and sustaining. Luke gives us a critical detail that I believe helps us to understand the difference between obtaining and sustaining. To obtain means to get. To obtain means to acquire or to secure a thing. To sustain, watch this, not only means to get it, but it means to hold on to it.
Yes, sir.
To sustain means to maintain or to continue in what you have. Listen, according to the text, Luke lets us know that what they learned led them in how they lived. That what they learned led them in how they live. Hear me, watch this. The difference between church folk and Christ followers, the difference between church folk and Christ followers is church folk shout on revelation, but Christ followers live the application. Church folk shout on application, but Christ followers live the application. The text says, so they continue daily. Can I get ghetto for just a moment? Look at somebody real quick and say, every day I'm worshiping. Look at somebody real quick and tell them, every day I'm worshiping. Listen, here's the thing. Church folk believe that is reserved only for the worship space. Church folk believe that worship is reserved only for the worship space, but Christ followers understand, watch this, that your worship should travel.
Yes.
That worship should travel. In other words, worship is more than just a moment. Worship is meant to become a lifestyle. The text says, so they continue daily. So somebody put this in your notes and in the comments. Continue daily. Continue daily. This means this was not just something that they learned. This is something that they lived. This wasn't just something that they learned. This was something, God, that became a lifestyle. Quincy, it became a way of life. It was their lifestyle. The difference between church folk and Christ followers is, watch it, what we do in church don't always translate to what we do at home. Some of us can give him a mighty shout at church, but we quiet the church mouth at home. Sometimes our worship does not travel. For them, worship became a lifestyle. They didn't have to be in church to shout. They didn't have to be in the temple to give God praise. Worship for them became a lifestyle. Their lives became dedicated to God. Are you dedicated to God, or are you just dedicated to your religion? Where does a real loyalty lie? The text says, so they continue daily with one accord in the temple, breaking bread from house to house. I said it before, I'll say it again. Worship is not reserved for the worship service. Worship is meant to travel. Somebody say travel. Worship is meant to travel. According to the text, it took place in the temple, yet it traveled from house to house.
Yes, sir.
It took place in the temple, yet it traveled from house to house. What happened in worship, this is critical, what happened in worship didn't just stay in worship. What happened in church didn't just stay at church. They took the worship wherever they went. I wonder if the inconsistencies of our reality are rooted in the fact that we are really situational worshipers. I wonder if the inconsistencies of our reality is really because we are situational worshipers. We are situational work. We'll worship if we're in the right situation. We'll worship, watch this, if we're seated in the right setting. We'll worship if the right song has been selected. If we're enjoying a good season in our life, we'll worship. Isn't it amazing that we can worship in the sanctuary, but our worship does not travel to our own personal settings? Isn't it strange that we can worship God in the sanctuary packed with people, but we struggle to worship God in the secret place? We can worship him in the sanctuary, but we struggle to worship him in our own secret places. I've come to discover that if our situation is right, we'll worship. That's what it means to be a situational worshiper. But I believe that's why God had a particular liking to David. I believe that's the reason why God favored David, because David, watch this, David did not care where David danced. David did not care where David worshiped. David was a worshiper. It didn't matter if David was on the streets of David or he was in the sanctuary. He didn't care if he was in the field, in the valley, or in the cave. David was a worshiper. You missed what I just said. David, that's why God favored David the way he favored David, because David did not care where he shouted. David was not a situational worshiper. David was just a flat foot. I wish I had one who could care less about where you are. Who didn't care if you was in your living room or your bedroom. You didn't care if you was in your front room or your bedroom. I wish I had one worshiper who could be like David and say, I don't care if I get on fine things. I don't care if you look at me and royalty. I don't care how you see me. All I know is God has been too good to me to sit down and do nothing. David said, God has been too good to me to act like I'm just a did it to praise God. God has been too good to me to keep my mouth quiet. God has been. Is there anybody here that owes God a praise? He's been keeping you. He's been blessing you. He's been sustaining you. God has kept you when you didn't get your. Is there anybody here that owes God God an undignified praise. Too many of us are situational worshipers. If your hair and makeup is right, then you got a cute praise. But I wish I had one person who didn't care if you got a sew in or you ain't got nothing. You just came to give God praise. The only reason you showed up was to shout. You missed what I said. The only reason you showed up was to shout. The only reason you came was to lift your hand. You praise God in the congregation of you. You can praise God in the house. You can praise God in the kitchen. You can praise God in a bad situation. You can praise God with a bad hand. Is there anybody here? Listen, I don't care what my situation is. I came to shout. I never want to be considered a situational worshiper. That means my setting has to be pretty in order for me to pray. You missed what I said. I don't ever want to be seen as a situational worshiper. My setting has to be pretty for me to give God. I don't care if He shifts the things in my life. I came to give God glory. I don't care about that or anybody. I came to give God praise. But the text says, so they continued daily on accord in the temple and breaking bread from house to house. They ate food with gladness and simplicity of heart, praising God and having favor with all the people. Listen, not only did they obtain the way, but they sustained the way. Yeah. They didn't just come into the faith, they became faithful. They didn't just come into the faith. That's what some of us messed up. We cool because we just came to faith. We came to church. We came into the church. Listen, they didn't just come into faith. They became faithful. And as a result of their faithfulness, God gave them favor. You missed it. As a result of their faithfulness, God bestowed them with favor. As a result of their faithfulness, God blessed them with favor. Because they were faithful of a few things, God granted them favor with many things. That's the equation to get what you want from God. Because they were faithful, I'm trying to help somebody. Because they were faithful with a little bit, God blessed them with a lot of it. Because they were faithful with the 10%, God did something mighty with the 90. Because they were faithful with a raggedy car, God blessed them with a new car. Because they were faithful with their last $2, God blessed them with a multitude of dollars. Because they were faithful with a little bit, God said, I'm going to give you a lot of it. They did not just come into the faith, they became faithful. They didn't just come into the faith, they became faithful. You've heard it said that favor is not fair, but this is what I've discovered. Not only, watch this, not only is favor not fair, this is what I've learned, favor is not free. That's it. Not only is favor not fair, favor is not free. Favor costs.
Come on.
You don't just by chance stumble upon favor. Favor costs. Favor costs friendships. Favor costs relationships. Favor does not just come for free. Favor costs you something. We look at folk with favor and we want what they got, but are you willing to pay the price that they paid? You look at the gifts of other folk, you look at their anointing and say, I want what they want, but are you willing to go through what they went through to get it? Favor, it's not just free, favor costs.
Yes, God. Speak, Holy Ghost. Speak.
So I wouldn't be a man of God if I didn't tell you the means to purchase favor. So one of the means to purchase favor. There are two things I can give you real quick. Number one, watch this. To purchase favor, the means of purchasing favor, here's the first one. The means to purchase favor is in your sacrifice. Let's look at the verse. Verse 44 and verse 45. It says, they sold their possessions and divided them amongst those who had need. Look at the text. They sold their possessions and divided them among those who had need. They sold. Somebody say sold. S-O-L-D. It doesn't just stop there. Yes, they sacrificed by selling. Not only did they sold, had they sold their stuff, watch this, they sold their stuff. Y'all want me to stop preaching right there. They didn't just sold their stuff, they didn't sell or sold their things, they sold. S-O-W-E-D. Some of us ain't sold since the pandemic hit.
Wow.
Some of us don't believe in sowing seeds. Some of us don't believe in putting a seed in the ground. Not only did they sell their stuff or they sold their stuff, they sold their stuff. They sacrificed. In other words, they were willing, watch this, they were willing to let go and to give up. The reason why some of us can't obtain favor is because we're still holding on to the little bit that we have. I'm not just talking about your money, I'm talking about your honey. Some of us in a relationship that's keeping us from favor. Some of us have friendship that's keeping us from favor. Some of us, watch this, know that we have some blessing blockers in our life and we still won't remove them. We're still not willing to let them go. We're still not willing to release them. God says you got to move some of those things out of your life because if you really want favor, you got to sacrifice for it. What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to let go of? What are you willing to give up? It's not about you, but it's a blessing in your giving. There's an old parable in church that said you can't be God-given no matter how hard you try. Give and it shall, watch this. The Bible says give and it shall be given unto you. This is the part of that good measure. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. I like the New Living Translation that says this way. Not only does it say that, it says, and you'll make room for more. Yes, God. Your giving, watch this, your giving will make room for more. Your giving will make room for more. The reason why God can't give you a whole lot of stuff is because you still got your little bit of room with the little bit that you have. God said if you will make room, if you will release some stuff, if you will clean up, listen. I can't wait to get in my closet because watch this. I knew what I was doing. I was being intentional about it. I said if I get rid of some of my stuff, God gonna bless me with some new stuff. So I went in there and got some stuff that because I hold on to things. Styles will come back around, so I hold on to stuff, thinking I can also hold on to my side and get back in it. But God told me, if you want me to replenish all of this stuff that you got in your closet, if you want me to replenish all the old stuff that you have, you got to be willing to let go of it. So I gladly went in my closet and just started pulling things off of my shelf. Let me jump to the end of it. And everything that I got rid of, God started giving me more of. Listen, God can't replace what you won't release. God can't replace what you won't release. Listen, you better look at somebody real quick and say, I think you better let it go. Favor is not free. Favor costs. What does favor cost? Here's the meaning of favor. Watch this. The purpose of favor, not only do you have to sacrifice, watch this, we also have to be submissive. Not only is favor purchased through sacrifice, but also through your submission. Here it is, verse 46. And they continued daily, which suggests that they submitted themselves not only to leadership, but also to a particular lifestyle. they were submitted. Listen, to be like Christ means to be Christ-like. Which means that we cannot pick and choose which characteristics of Christ that we want to exhibit. Jesus was submitted. Can I ask you a question real quick? Are you submitted?
Wow. Help us. Help us.
Are you submitted? Listen, every church needs a covering. Every pastor needs a pastor. Every leader needs a leader. Every child needs a parent. In other words, all of humanity is in desperate need of accountability.
Yes.
All of humanity is in desperate need of accountability. In the words of my pastor, Dr. R.A. Vernon, don't tell me who you're over until you tell me who you're under. Don't tell me who you're over until you tell me who you're under. Are you submitted?
Yeah, come on.
Are you accountable to something or someone?
Yeah.
The Bible says, honor thy father and mother. Watch this. In other words, submit to them. Watch this, that it might be well with you.
Yeah.
You missed what I just said. Honor your father and mother. In other words, submit to them. Watch this, that it might be well, not with them, but with you.
Yeah.
That your days, somebody say my days, that your days will be long in the earth.
Yeah.
There's a blessing in your submission.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
There is a blessing in your submission. When you submit to, you honor someone, you serve someone, you're accountable to someone. That's the pecking order. God believes in order, and when you are submissive to somebody, God will bless your submission.
Yes. Yes, God.
Jesus didn't come to serve. He didn't come to be served. He came to serve. He was submitted. When his parents found him in the temple, they said, what are you doing? He said, well, I'm doing my father's business. Watch this. If he was going to really start his business right then, he would have stayed in the temple. But instead, he left with them. He humbled himself and submitted to his authority. And the reason why many of us are not walking in favor is because we're too busy trying to do our own things. God says, it's the humble that I will exalt. But when you exalt yourself, I'll humble you. The exalt comes to those who are accountable to somebody, who are submitting to someone. Are you truly submitted? That's the dichotomy of Christianity. That God humbles. He will humble those who are proud, and He will lift up the ones who are lowly. The greatest among you must be a servant. That's the dichotomy of Christianity. The greatest among you will be a servant. Are you submitted? Or are we self-serving? Our only agenda is wrapped up in what can we get out of the thing? What can I get out of this? What are you going to do for me? How does this benefit me? How is this going to bless me? How is this going to set me up? God said that's the reason why you can't be exalted, because you're too busy trying to exalt yourself. But if you will bow down, when you become humble, then I will lift you up. You can't get favor. You can't get favor doing your own thing. Favor comes when you sacrifice and when you are submitting. Text says, so they continued daily on one accord in the temple, breaking bread from house to house. They ate food with gladness and simplicity of heart, praising God and having favor with people, and the Lord added. Let me be clear, I'm not teaching that faith can be attained by works lest any man should boast. However, I do subscribe to the thought that faith without works does not work. So to that end, I want to argue that the Lord added to the church in part because of their actions. It was because they actively worked out their salvation. The operative word is action. Many of us get caught up on the principle of addition, but we either miss or minimize the principle of activity. When we see that text, what jumps out at us is the word added. We get caught up in the principle of addition, but we miss or minimize the principle of activity. What is the principle of activity? Activity, watch this. Activity, or the root word of active, is to act. It means that having God's presence does not dismiss personal responsibility. Having God's presence does not dismiss personal responsibility. The principle of activity means to take action. It is the being faithful of a few things. It is the consistency of your servitude. It's in your willingness to do the work. It's in your being committed to the assignment. God gave us the will. He gave us the will and unto do the work. It literally means to use every tool that God has given you to make it happen. Lights, camera, action. Look at somebody say it's go time.
Go time.
Prophet Isaiah says in the 6th chapter, verse 8, he says, I heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom shall I send? And who shall go for us? Then he responds, here am I. Send me. Here am I. Somebody help me shout, send me.
Send me.
Here am I. Send me. Here is what I need you to understand about what you just said. Please know that sending is the assignment that's given by God. Yet the pronoun me is the personal responsibility tied to your activity. What am I saying? Can I suggest to you that while many of us are expecting a move of God, God is expecting you to move. Look at somebody say, send me. While many of us are looking for God to move, God says, I'm just waiting on you to move.
Hallelujah.
We want God to shift the scene, but God said, you got to leave your scene. We want God to work it out. God said, don't work on you to work it out. I gave you the will, I gave you the wood, I gave you the know-how, I gave you the anointing. I gave you the position. I set you up to work. Quit looking at the feet of you. God said, I just gave you everything you need. You make it happen.
God.
I've given you the gift. I've given you the time. I've given you the talent. I've opened doors. I've made a way. We can go move.
Yes, God. Wow. Yes, oh God.
We keep waiting on God to move. God is waiting on you to move. Are you moving?
Wow.
So being on the run simply means that God has given us plenty of rehearsal time. Now it's go time.
Yes, sir.
Everything that you rehearse, when you start going, those things that you rehearse will manifest itself into your reality. Everything that you practice, God says, I'm getting ready to call you to produce.
Yes, God.
In this season, God is looking for you to produce on another level.
Yes, oh God. Yes, God.
What if I told you that you were closer than you could? That you were in a better place than you realize.
Yes, oh God.
That where you are is exactly what God wants you to be. How would you respond? What if I told you that God was using this pitiful pandemic just to position you in a place where you can produce on another level? God said, that song you saw last season ain't gonna get it for this season. I'm calling you to produce on another level. The production from last year ain't be the production from 2021. God said, I'm calling you to produce on another level. I'm calling you to write on another level, to minister on another level, to sing on another level, to serve on another level, to give on another level. Watch this, to live on another level. God is looking at you. I'm waiting on you. Just like the servant said, wait on the Lord. God says, I'm waiting on you.
Yes, God.
It's just like the church said, wait, I say, wait on the Lord. They say, wait on the Lord. God says, yeah, you can wait, but I'm waiting on you.
Yes.
Oh God.
It's go time.
Yes, it is. Lord, make us
It's go
ready.
time.
Lord, prepare us, oh God.
You've had enough practice time. It's go time.
Time to go.
You've had plenty of opportunity to get ready. It's go time. I'm getting ready to see God, and I've been trying to show you it's go time. It's going to be big. It's been big. I'm waiting on you. It's go time.
My God. My God. Thank you, Father.
God is setting you up to produce on another level. He's setting you up to be creative on another level. He's calling you out to live on another level. That what you learn now has to become how you live. That how you worship has to become your way of life. It has to become your lifestyle. I said, y'all have been rehearsing. Y'all been in rehearsal long enough. It's time for the concert.
Come on. Go time.
We had enough practice. It's time to go. It's time to do it. Can I suggest to you that I believe in this season God is calling you out? I knew I wasn't going to get no applause right there. I said, this season, God is calling you out. He's calling you out of darkness. He's calling you out of your comfort. He's calling you out of your lazy place. He's calling you out. He's calling you out from among those who kept you at the last level. God is calling you out. He's calling you to live louder. He's calling you out to dance harder. He's calling you out. Who shall I send? And who shall go for us? God is calling you out. The reason for the scattering of the church was because God was calling them out. If I get you out of your situational place, will you still praise me? If I get you from your place of comfort, will you speak loud for me? Acts chapter 8, the whole reason for On the Run, as the church was scattered, they preached the gospel everywhere they went. Are you ready to go? It's go time. God was using the scattering of the people to scatter seeds. Because it was time for them to spread their wings. That's what I like about mother eagles. Mother eagles, they like humans. Human mothers will keep somebody in the house forever and a day, but mother eagle said, oh, it's time for you to go. A mother eagle will push the baby eagle out of the nest and say, it's time for you to fly. God is putting you out of your comfortable places. Because he said, in this season, it's time for you to spread your wings. Fly, it's go time. Some of us will never flap and fly because we're so comfortable where we are. Some of us will never produce like you've been called to produce because you're comfortable with the few little clients that you got. God said, that's not enough. I see bigger for you. It's go time. It's time for you to flap your wings and fly. Lights, camera, action. Look at somebody and say, it's go time.
It's go time.
Let's give God praise.
here at Redemption Church, we are not just a church, we are a
Family.
So listen, if you want to be a part of this family, it's simple. All you have to do is text RDPTN to 31996. Yep, it's just that simple. Here it is again. Just text RDPTN to 31996, and our virtual assimilation team will meet you right at that place and receive you in. Listen, not only can you join the church that easily, but listen, you can accept Christ right there where you are the same way. Listen, it's as simple as ABC. Acknowledge, believe, and confess. You can acknowledge, believe, and confess from your home, but if you want to really connect with Christ, you can do the same thing. Just text RDPTN to 31996. It's as simple as that. We would love to have you as a part of our church. We would love to have you as a part of our family. God would love you and to have you as a part of His kingdom family. So listen, meet us right there where you are. Just text RDPTN to 31996. And can I say it? Welcome to Redemption.
Yes.
Yeah.